lesson number 3 is a long lesson. So we're only going to probably get through half of it. Okay. Did anyone have any questions before we get started from lessons 1 and 2?
No, I think it stuck. That one stuck pretty well.
Lesson number 3 is a long That's awesome. Lesson. So we're only going to make sure half of it. And make sure you guys ask any questions. That's what I'm here. I'm your teacher. So if you say, well, I don't know how to say this or how does that work, I can tell you. Okay. But you guys are pretty sharp. I'm very impressed, to be honest with you. You guys are very sharp. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me tell you the end from the beginning. And what I mean by that is let's look at things the way that the creator would have us look at it. He wants us to kind of go over what we've already learned. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so the summary, we've already been through lessons 1 and lesson 2, okay? You know that there is no letter or word for a in Hebrew, okay? The hey at the end, or excuse me, at the beginning of the noun means the. The wa at the beginning of the noun means and. The that little symbol, and then the hey on the end at the end of a noun, not a verb, makes the feminine noun, okay? The noun feminine. There's plurals. There's the eem and there's the oath. Very simple. So there's just the pieces to our puzzle, you know? So you're just learning pieces to the puzzle in these lessons. That's all. We understand that if he said something is going to be a mar, but if I need to feminize that noun, all I do is add the onto it. If I want to add another piece called they, I would just put the wa with the dot on the side of it, on the end of that word. So once you know your vocabulary words, you're going to know how to just put pieces on it. And you'll know what it says, okay? Lesson number 2, we learned last week that the F is an arrow. It doesn't matter how many dots you have. You can have 2 or 3, it doesn't matter. One of the most challenging, I won't say it's difficult, I say one of the most challenging things to wrap our mind around was, you know, the part of lesson 2 that had to do with the semikuth. Okay, if we put 2 nouns side by side, then the first noun translate as the blank of, okay? And sometimes the letters of the first word can change. So when those letters, they change because they're changing its form, okay? So if you have to change anything, if it had an on the end, if it's feminine, you're just going to change it to a tav, okay? If you're going to change a eem to it, you know, from that, it's going to turn to 2 dots and a yod. And it gives you those examples, okay? And so all the other nouns that don't have the on the end or don't have the eem on the end of it, it doesn't have to go through any changes, like the word horse. Soos is still soos, okay? Sometimes the first noun may translate as a blank of, but they said they'll discuss that later in the book. I did tell you last week that I didn't understand where this semikuth comes from. Do you remember I said, I don't know why they named this here, but you know, I said, usually you can find it in the Torah. It'll tell you about it in the Torah. You just got to find it. But I said, I've never seen the word. Well, guess what? During this week's Torah portion, you guys, I found the word semikuth within the Torah portion. Okay. Okay. Now listen to me. I didn't get a chance to share this with the other class today because they're not in the Hebrew class. So they don't know. Okay. Here it is. When the priest he's supposed to get how many goats?
2.
2. Okay, so you got 2 goats, just like you would have 2 nouns. Okay. What he's going to do is the priest is going to take one of the goats and he's going to put his hands on the head of the one goat. And he's going to send and he's going to let the other one, you know, the other one's going to get sacrificed and the other one's going to be sent. Okay. So the putting of the hands is called semikah. Okay. That's what it's called. Semikah, not semikuth, it's called semikah. And semikah means the transference of something, right? So they're using the word semikuth because it has to do with these 2 nouns, just like you would have 2 goats. So once they put their hands on a noun, it changes. That's what happens. Just like you put their hand on the goat and you transfer the sin from the people to the goat, all semikuth is just a term used for placing your hands on and conferring power or conferring sins or conferring something on to the person. Is changing the person, okay, or the thing. So when Moses went into, or before he didn't go into the land, but before he died, he called Joshua to him. And what did he do to him?
He laid hands on
He laid his hands on him and he conferred his leadership, power, and authority on Yehoshua. So this is the reason why they're using this word semikuth, because it comes from semika. It comes from semika. And semika means to lay your. So when you're talking about in this language, when we're talking about, let me get this right here. When we're talking about changing something in the language, it has to go through a change. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I didn't know.
Going in and out. So I don't know. We didn't hear the last part of what you said.
Okay. So when Moshe puts his hands on Yehoshua, he's conferring his authority and his power on him. So what I'm saying is, I did not know why they use this word. I knew they use words in their their definitions, but I didn't know like why they use this word semikuth. Semikuth comes from semika. And so the idea is once you place your hands on something, it changes it. That's why they're changing it from a to a tav, or they're changing it from an im into the two dots in a yod. It's the same principle. Instead of you doing that to a person or an animal, what you're doing now is you're putting your hands on letters. See what I'm saying? So that's the reason why they use this. And I just discovered that through the Torah portion this week. Because remember I told you, I said, I didn't know, but Yahweh showed it to me. So I wanted to let you guys know what that actually literally means. It means to transfer power, okay? Our lesson today, I'm telling you the end from the beginning. Okay, so the prepositions, or I'm really telling you the beginning from the end. The prepositions that we're going to learn today are, words and letters. That's where we're going to focus on today. And so there's a lot of information in here that is going to direct us on how to use these prepositions. Okay, so you're going to have endings that have prepositions. You're going to have the actual, more rules on number 7. You're going to have all kind of stuff. So that's what I wanted to let you know. All right, so let's get into lesson number 3. That's pretty long. But I'm going to send you whatever we go over today. I'm going to send it to you. Okay. So in every lesson, there's always vocabulary. Okay. So again, here they're giving us, 12. I don't know if it has to do with the 12 sons of Israel, but each one of these words. Okay. So prepositions can be letters, but they can also be words. Okay. And what we find is we got all. Okay. That means on, like the leaf that we had in our presentation I put together. We got im, which means with. We have lifnei, which means before or in front of. And of course, they're going to break this down. And then you have our word that we went over today, akare. That means after or behind, after death, okay, or behind something. Then we have a car, okay, which means another or other. You got min, which is from, which by the letter by itself, which is the mem, means from, okay? Then you have this word asher, which they use as that. It's a relative pronoun. So whatever an action is, this word right here, like tells you, like, I'm going to, from a grammatical standpoint, or excuse me, from an agricultural standpoint, what this really is a chord, okay? That's what it is. It's a chord. And what it does is, it ties an action, which is a verb, to the person who's doing it. So it could be anybody, okay? So you'll see this, and I'll define it a little bit better than what I am right now. And then so after they give you these prepositions on the side that we just went over, on 25 through 30, on this side over here, you're going to get more nouns, okay, and some verbs, okay? So ra'ah is a verb. Deber is a verb. Yatsa is a verb. Aretz is a noun. Sefer is a noun. And bayit is a noun. Okay. So you're going to give you 3 verbs that you're going to learn. You're going to go over 3 nouns, and all these right here are prepositions. Okay. So in this lesson, we're going to be discussing 2, as they have noted down here, these letters. which letters, again, they tell you the story. So we got the lamed, we got the bet, doesn't have the dot in it, but it's still a bet. You got the mem and you got the kof, okay, kof, and you got the shin. So these letters right here are all prepositions, okay? And so they're going to be used in your vocabulary words in 37 and 41, which is in a whole nother list of vocabulary words, okay? Or excuse me, they're using those as your vocabulary words. Forgive me. 37 is a vocabulary word right here. They're saying 38 is going to be your bet, 39 is your mem, and 40 is your kof, and shin is 41. Excuse me. That's what they are. So they didn't list them up here, but they're letting you know that they're going to be included in your vocabulary words, because you have to know what each one of these letters mean. Okay, because they're going to put these letters on the front of 3-letter roots, okay, or 2 letters. They're using them all the time. Okay, so you already know that a shepherd's staff from an agricultural standpoint means 2 or 4. You know that a bet, okay, is meaning in or with, because it has to do with the tent or a dwelling, okay, or on. A mem, as I told you today, means from. And then a kof, of course, means like. And I think this shin right here means that or which. So they mean certain things and they use them. So they'll put them on front of words all the time, okay? So they're going to give us some information on rule number 9, which is prepositions. I'm going to erase all this for us. Any questions, let me know. So rule number 9 is prepositions, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these words called book and bookcase. And we can see, we can say any of the following. You can say the book is on the bookcase. You can say the book is in the bookcase. You can say the book is beside the bookcase. You can say the book is in front of the bookcase. You could say the book is behind the bookcase, etc. So these words on, in, besides, etc., which they describe where the book is in relation, where the book is in relation to the bookcase. And in English, they're called prepositions. So you can see that book can be anywhere, okay? And this is very important because in the Hebrew language, especially in ancient Hebrew, oftentimes people don't know where something is or what it's talking about. If they think something's in front and when it's really behind, it can make your mind think something different, okay? Being in a bookcase versus being on a bookcase is totally different, right? So it's important for us to know how to use these prepositions. So they fall into 2 different categories. The first category that they fall in is A, that they are complete words, as we have in our vocabulary up here in 25 through 30. Those are actual words. Okay, so they're prepositions, but they're words. But the second category that we have is that they're actually single letters that you have right here, 37 through 41. They're letters. So both letters and both words. So it could be any of that. Okay, that's what they can be. And when they are prepositions as single letters, they're attached onto the front of words. So we're going to look at 2 types of Hebrew prepositions. We're going to look at them to figure out how they're being used. Okay. So the first way here is the prepositions are complete words. Some of the most common ones that you're going to find are going to be, to, on, with, before, in front, after, behind, and from. All right. So our examples there is El Dawid, and they got David, of course, is their European understanding. El Dawid, that means to Dawid. All is on, Dawid, in, very simple, lifnei, before and in front. Akare and Akar Dawid, after and behind Dawid, and from Dawid. So when you see these words, you'll already know. And you might say, well, how am I going to always remember them? Well, when you read Hebrew and you practice, you guys, if you read 5 verses a day, just 5 to 7 verses a day, you'll be fine. You're going to see these words all the time. You're going to see them all the time. Okay. And then there's going to be some different words that you're going to see these words, but often you're going to see words that don't have any of this underneath, any of these things. They're going to mean something totally different. Okay. So sometimes the vowel points on them doesn't mean anything, because sometimes you're going to see it and be like, okay, so how do you know this is not El like our Elohim? How do you know that's not God or power? That's what a question would be, right? How do you know that it won't? Because you can either have L with these three dots underneath it like this, or sometimes you may have a pathak underneath it. You might have, what else would you have under it? You have a kamatz underneath it, I believe. So one means God and the other one means two. So the context of the sentence, okay, and the structure of the sentence will tell you that it means two, you know? So it won't be God, David, it'd be to David, you know? Sometimes this right here, this all right here may mean not, okay? And that's just, I don't want to confuse you, but when we get there, you'll say, oh, I see that in L, but I also see all, and I also see God, you know? So I see all these different ways that it could be said. So you got L, you got all, you got, what's the other one? AL, the two dots, you might get the two dots underneath it. You might get two dots underneath there, and it goes like that, okay? So that one there is God, right? Or power, okay? You got the three dots underneath this one. That one is L, that means two. Then you might have the aleph with this underneath it, and that means not. But the more you read and the more you come to understand, then you'll be like, okay, I know what that means, all right? So that's what it is. El, all, im, lifnei, akare, or akar, and min. That's it. How would I remember them? How would I practice them? I would sing them. That's what I always recommend to my students, is that you can sing this, you can put this in a song. You know, you can say this over and over and over again, el dawid, all dawid, and just figure out how you want to do it. It doesn't have to be my way, it could be your way, okay? The other one is oh, no, what happened? The other one is the prepositions from a letter standpoint, okay? So individual letters, as you have here, you have the lamed, you have the lamed, you have the bet, you have the min, and you have the kaf, and you have the shin. I was correct, it means that, all right? So, but I want you guys to understand, even when you're looking at this from a consonants and letters, if you know the meaning, this is what this book doesn't teach you. This book doesn't tell you that. It'd be easy for you to remember this if you know what this means, what this letter actually means. So what does a letter mean from an agricultural standpoint? What's a lamed?
It's the staff,
Staff. What's a bet?
the tent,
It's a tent. What's the mem?
water,
Water. Okay. What's the cough?
hand, the open palm,
Yep, the palm. There you go. And what's the shin?
the teeth, two teeth.
Teeth. Okay. So when you think about a staff, you would say you can use a staff to go somewhere, to walk, or for something, to, because you use a staff for, you know, doing something with it, you know, like leading your animals or your sheep or whatever, prodding them. You can use it for, you know, defense. You can use it for protection. You can use it for, you know, all different types of reasons, as a yoke. Okay. So it's functioning like that. Okay. Leading somewhere, someone or something to somewhere, or for something. Okay. When you talk about a bet, you're talking about in and with, because, you know, inside of a tent, you can go inside the tent. When you could travel with the tent, see, that's why it makes sense. When it talks about from, you're talking about the water. Well, what do you got to do? You got to leave the tent to go from somewhere to go get the water. The water is not always by the tent or the place. You'd have to go from somewhere. If you look at our history as a people, when we traveled from places, and then every time we went somewhere, there was no water. We had to leave from one spot to another to go get water. That's how they came up with these prepositions. So all the prepositions are pointing back to the agricultural. That's why it's important to know the agriculture, and that's how you should know this faster. Because if you get these things down and you understand this, you'll understand what it is. When it talks about a palm, when they say something's like something, it's because it has to do with the palm of the hand. When you have the palm of the hand, what they would do is they would put spices in the middle of their hand, and they would smash it and look at it and just investigate it, look at it and examine it. You examine things in your hand. Like, what is this, right? Oh, this is like, it always seems like it's a powdery substance. And you go like this, taste it, you know, oh, that's like such and such. So that's where they got the palm of the hand, okay? I haven't figured out how to put the teeth to that, but if you want to make something up, you can. Okay. So that's how I was able to remember these prepositions. So prepositions comes in words and they come in letters. That's as simple as it gets. Okay. Now we're going to discuss some other parts about this. Any questions so far? Pretty simple, huh? All right. So now we're talking about in this lesson, since we figured out that they come in words and they come in individual letters, now they're talking about what you can do with them. Okay. So adding endings onto the prepositions. So with the words that you and I have learned, okay, like these letters right here, the lamed, the bet, the mem, and the kaf, and the shin, you can actually add letters to those, and it will give you, where's it at? It'll create a word. It'll create a word for you. So let's talk about it. So now we're going to learn how to, by adding certain letters onto the end of the prepositions, that you can create small phrases. Okay. That's what you can create with individual letters. Okay. So let's take a look first at this list of letters that can be added on, and then look at their meanings. And then we'll, examine and take a look at some examples and how they can be used. So the preposition table ending, you have to learn this. This is what you do have to learn, because these are pieces to your puzzle. That's all it is, right? So once you learn this ending table, because memory is part of this, and the more you practice, the better off you're going to be. So this dot with this yo means me. Anytime you see that added onto a preposition, then it means me, okay? It's of me, all right? The next one is called a ka. That's you. And again, I told you guys that it's going to be first person, second person, third person. It might be single or it might be plural, and all of these things here. Okay. Or it may be common. Okay. Common. So, for example, let's take the lamed. That's the preposition for two or four. Right? That's what that means. I'm going to add a kaf over here, this final kaf right here, and it's called laka. Okay. So if I have laka, what does laka mean? According to what we have, to you. Yes, perfect. Because I'm putting the staff to you. You see, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to or for you. Okay. And so if it's laka, right, then that's to you, and it's a masculine singular. And what makes this masculine is this ka over here, and I'll make it larger, has this underneath it. It has a little kamats underneath it. Okay. All right. This one here is feminine because it's a final cough and it has two dots. Two dots. Okay. Not trying to be vulgar, but I want to tell you how I remember that. Okay. The masculine and the feminine are always going to be different. They have the same letter, final cough, right? This one has this mark, and this one has this mark. The way that I put it in my mind to remember this is this is masculine and this is feminine. I think about the genitalia of a man and a woman in order for that to happen. Okay. Not trying to be vulgar, but I believe that's how they came up with this. Okay. Figure it out for yourself. So you have masculine and you have feminine. So laka and lak. Okay. When it's a male, he's going to have, and he's a third person, him or it is a third person masculine, singular. So if I put a lamed on the front of this, it says lo. That's how you would pronounce that. So what is it? What did I just say if it's a preposition?
To him.
to him. Okay, if I put a mem on it. A mem is water, and you had to go from somewhere. It'd be from him. Okay. Is a feminine. Again, the ah. But see, there's a little dot in there. That dot means that it's possessive, meaning that it's hers. Like, you know, when you talk about her or it, you're talking about something that belongs to them. Okay. And then new is us. So how do you say to us?
The new.
La nu, which is this. Okay, la nu, good. So as you can see, there's just pieces to the puzzle. Okay. Question for you. This is a use up here and use here. Now we got use down here. Okay, so what's the difference between these use here, the masculine and feminine, and these use here? What's the difference? There's plural, right?
Mhm.
So are they using the same letters?
Yes, they're
Yes, they
using
are. So
different
what's the
kind of-
difference between this cough and these coughs?
One's a final, one's a
Yes, excellent. So the final is that's the reason it's on the end. When it's not a final, it's not going to be on the end. It's going to be the before. It's not the last letter, right? So it's going to have a different form. So how do you know that it's a masculine and feminine? Is these two letters on the end. The letter right here is a final mem. And mem usually has to do with masculinity. And then here's a final noon. Okay. Like that is a final noon. So you got to know your letters. Okay. But they both have coughs. So the coughs are talking about you. That's what it is. But now we're talking about plurality. So the mem final lets you know it's plurality. The noon here on the end is plurality. Okay. But it still has to do with you. Okay. In the Hebrew language, they tell you exactly what group of people they're talking to. They could tell you by saying you that is plural versus a you in singular based on what the letters are. In English, they tell you something you think is talking about just you as an individual. Just like in Hebrew, they'll write you in the translation, but the you is not talking about a single. It's actually talking about a plural. Today, when we learned, he said that lo ye yea. Remember, it was lo ye yea? Not to him. It was a lo. Lo means no also. So you'll have words that sound exactly the same. Lo, this is the same thing as a lamed and a vav right here. But they don't mean the same thing. This means to him, lo, and this one means no. But you got lo. They both sound the same. But you can have words that sound exactly the same, but they're written completely different. Okay. So when we're talking about plurality, or let me go back to singularity, in our lesson today, we learned that it says, lo ye yea, he shall not exist to you. Laka. It was laka was part of that. It was a lamed and a kaf. And so when it says not shall exist to you, lo shall, ye yea laka, it's in a covenant. Okay. And when it's in the covenant, we took it as, oh, he's talking to, the entire house of Israel. Okay. Well, when you look at the lesson, and this is a good point I should really bring out. Where's it at? Here it is. Can you see my screen? No?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me see right here. Okay, here you go. Oh. Let me put that up there. Yeah. I'll just put that up there. You don't have to be fancy. Where's it at? Put that up there. Yeah. Here you go. Oh, and this is a book that we're going to go into, by the way. Okay. It's another book I have for you. I gave you guys a blue book, but I got a red book too. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as I told you, there's a lamed, and then the other one that we just did was lo. That means to him, but this one is different. This means no. Okay. Never. Absolutely never. Then it says ye laka. Okay. That laka that you see right here, right, is a preposition. That's a preposition. Question for you, according to what you already know so far, this preposition right here, is it plural or is it singular?
That's like saying them. That's plural.
No, the ka on the end is a singular, meaning you. Okay. A good try though, singular. Okay. The reason why it's singular because it ends in this kaf right here with this little, mark right here. Okay. So when he says it never shall exist to you an Elohim after Akarim all upon my face, right? People, when they read the Torah, you're thinking that since he's given the commands out or he's given the contract out, you think he's talking to the whole entire group, right? Like this goes for everybody, right? That's how it's perceived. The way the Yah had wrote this and had it written, he didn't say shall exist to Lakem. He didn't put the small, cough here and then put the mem on the end. That would mean all of you, plural. He's talking here singular. So what's the significance of knowing one is singular and one's plural? If I would say it again, not shall exist to you, or not shall he exist to you, an Elohim, the Akadrim, the Alapanai. Not shall exist to you, Elohim, after another upon my face.
Like he's directly talking to each person.
He's directly talking to each person. So who's responsible for the contract and the covenant?
Each person.
Each individual is responsible. So this is the reason why he said it this way. Because he's holding each, and I didn't bring this out today because I wasn't doing the grammar. I did a little bit of the grammar to show you that you can't have another God, right? And it told you that it's an individual third person masculine singular, which we have right here. It means he. So the Elohim here is he is a one person, third person masculine singular. That's what it is. Okay. And that in particular person is the God that people call JC. Okay. Or any other God that they put over him. You're absolutely right, Yored. This has to do with the individual. So if you know the language and you read this, it'll hit home for you versus it hitting home for everybody. So when we read the contract and we read the covenant, you're supposed to read it not for thinking about all entire Israel. You're supposed to be thinking about you. Because ultimately, he's not going to blame everybody for you, and you're not going to get the blame for everybody else. It's going to be what you do. It's your efforts individually. Okay. Any questions? That's pretty awesome, by the way. I'm glad you caught on to that. Yes, we are recording. Any questions? So that's what I meant. That's why I don't like to just rush through this. Oh, this is just grammar and these are prepositions. No, you got to understand how they're being used. Okay. So laka is you, individual, in the contract. And if it's just talking to all women, it'd be lak. Okay. Lo is him, right? La is her. Lo la, you hear it? And then lanu, us. And then lakem, that's a group. And then laken, you, feminine plural, you guys. And la'am, okay, for them. So you'll see that, and la'an, you'll see it, okay? Also, too, we'll get some more examples, and I'll let the book tell it, but you learn these things. That's exactly what it's going to be. These are just pieces to your puzzle, so they're telling you to learn them, okay? This is a table here that gives us the examples as we kind of went over a little bit. Lanu, there it is, lanu. And the first one, the second one is with them. im, and you will put those together and you get imam. You still got im in it, and you just add the third person right here, them. So you're just putting your pieces together. These are all pieces to a puzzle. That's it. Use the bet, you put the O on it, it means in him or in it. Okay. Lifnei, right? And then you got lifnekaim. Lifnei means before or in front of, and of course, panai or panay means faces, which I don't want to go there, but I can break this down. But the kim we're focusing on is you, plural. Okay. So you're always going to add, it's either going to be singular or plural. It's going to be first person, second person, and third person. That's all it's ever going to be. Okay. You can be with her. If it's with her, it's im. And then it's ima. Got it? Right here. Emma, just like your aunt, Aunt Emma. Sounds just like it, but it means with her. If this is Hebrew, that's how you would transliterate it. And then here, vi, right? Or bet, and then you put this, your bi means in me. So it's all different types of ways that you can do this. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is once you learn the masculine singular, feminine singular, plural, and then the third persons, you guys will be fine. They're just pieces to a puzzle. That's all this is pieces to a puzzle. I'm just giving you pieces to your puzzle. Okay. First person, second person, third person. All right. So here's something. So the question is what do the M and the F mean, the S and the PL? You guys, very simple, man. It's masculine, feminine, singular, and plural. That's all those things mean. So when you see those in parentheses, you'd be like, oh, that's masculine, that's feminine, that's singular, that's plural. Okay. But they want to tell you how they're used. So you would see written in a sentence to you, and it's unclear to who the you is. Because remember, in a sentence in English, you can be masculine, it could be feminine, it could be you singular, it could be you plural. You got to find out, is it one man, one woman, or many, right? So when you write this to you, how would you do this, right? Things will become clear because you'll know what it is. So we're talking about you who is a masculine singular, that is one man. That's what masculine singular is. You're talking about a female plural, it would be a FPL. That's it. Many women. So with this in mind, you look at the terms that are mentioned in the previous page and it'll explain what they mean. And so when in these studies that I'm sending over to you, you're always going to see stuff like this. And it's important to know because this is how you do your diagnostic when you see a word and you be able to identify based on its what? Based upon what its ending is. You'll be able to say, oh, I know what that is. I got the pieces to the puzzle. I know what that is because over here, I know what that means. That means you. Oh, I know that's feminine because it has the two dots right here. These two dots. That's what it is. I know that that's feminine. Oh, I know what this is on the end. Oh, that's masculine. Oh, I know what that is. I know that's hers. Oh, that's them. Us. That's you, masculine. The mem right here tells me that. The noon tells me that. This calf right here tells me that it's you, but it's plural. How do I know it's plural? Because it's two letters versus one. So that's why you got to know these pieces. That's why they tell you to please learn this table well. Okay. And then when you look at it closely again, anytime you see a mem on the end, you be like, hey, that's masculine. Every time I end up seeing a mem, it's masculine. It kind of goes together. A mem, M, masculine. Easy. And then the noon on the end, it tells me it's feminine. That's what I know. I know it's feminine because they have designated that as being the ending for the femininity in that case. Okay. All right. So that's pretty simple. That's pretty straightforward. Okay. So that's what you guys are going to get. You're going to find out about what's what. All right. I think this right here, and because I don't want to get your brain, is anybody lost or no? Everything's good?
All good so far.
Pretty straightforward, right? So now when you look at this page, right, they're going to talk about these two in particular prepositions that can be confusing to people. That's why they've kind of separated these two out from everyone else, amongst our other vocabulary words. They're using the L and they're using the all, okay? And they say that you can add endings onto these, okay? You can read this when you get some time, okay? Because I don't want it to confuse you too much, all right? All I want you to know is that with these endings right here, they will come with this yod. And you'll see it down here, okay? You really will see it. They're going to show you that you can add, because remember, we're still talking about adding, different letters to the end. So what you're going to do is use your list that we just showed you on the previous page that I told you that you need to learn well. They're saying with these in particular words here, on L to and all meaning on, and the bet meaning with, they're letting you know that when you add those dot and a yod, the ending or the cough with the, the final cough with that, or the final cough, the feminine, the two dots, or, the dot like that, or I'm just making it larger for us, or this. They're saying that when you add that to the bet, you don't need to add any yod with it. See, there's no extra yod added. But a rule is that when you're dealing with these two prepositions right here, they want you to add a yod to it, okay? A piece, and I'm going to try to explain this without being too difficult. All right. So if you notice in these list of words that we have in these prepositions, it seems a little overwhelming. You'll be like, man, look at all this stuff. How am I going to remember all this? All they want you to do is understand that when you have these two prepositions, these here, you have to use a yod. And that's all you need to remember at this point, okay? They have a little note down here, note number 2, that we're going to read in a second. But if you notice, when you get this list, all I want you to focus on is the prepositions here. That's all, okay? That's all I want you to focus on, and knowing what they mean. And over here, they tell you, to you, masculine singular. To him, you got the wall right there. To her and it, here it is right here. To us, there's the new, there's the Kim, there's the Ken, there's the him, there's the hang, okay? That's what they are. Same thing here. They're all here. Same thing, all of here. And in each one of these, they're going to tell you if it's singular, it's feminine singular. It's going to tell you if it's a third person masculine singular. It's going to tell you if it's plural. It's going to tell you if it's common. It's going to tell you all those different things, okay? So it's like another little puzzle that you got to figure out. So let's read the note at the bottom to kind of explain the yod a little bit. It says, according to what we have said, we should really have 2 yods here, okay? Meaning like, I'm gonna get lost here. I'm going to list for you 2 words with all the endings added. You'll clearly, or you will see clearly that all the endings come with an extra yod. On the side, I have listed the bet with all the endings added. So all the endings that are added to, the bet is on that side with no extra yod. I don't like the way they're explaining this. This is the reason why I have a problem with it. But if you look at the note on number 2, it says, according to what we have said above, we should really have 2 yods. One, because we learned on page number 17 that to say me in Hebrew, we add this. That's the little list and chart that we have, okay? And it says 1, because when we add the endings to the L and the all, they come with an extra yod, okay? So this is why they're saying there should be 2. Because when you're talking about me, okay, remember the me on the previous page? They added this to say that you can add that to any ending. That's the first yod, okay? They're saying there really should be 2, because the rule is that preposition all and el, they come automatically with the yod. But it says this is the Torah never does this. Rather, there's always one yod and it always is vowel. See, they're confusing. Listen, forget about all that. You'll get confused because the way that they're explaining is very difficult. Okay. So I don't really, that's why I didn't want to go into this. I don't agree with that. Well, what I do agree with is this. Let's keep it easy. Let's keep it simple. All they're telling us is an extra yod is always added to these two prepositions. So when you get this and I send it to you in the mail, you will know that, guess what? When I got the all and I got the L, they're always here. That's always added to the prepositions. It's always added. Always. The reason why they add this is because you're adding another letter to the end. You just can't go like this. You can't go L and then like this. You just can't go Elka. You can't do that. You can't go all and then I put a Kim on the end. It doesn't make sense. See? So what they're asking us to do is when you use the preposition L or all, you put the yod right here. And I think that's for the vowing purposes when you're speaking it. Okay. And let me just show you what it would be like without the yod or sound it out. Say there was no yod right here. Let's take it out. Let's get rid of the yods. Okay. When you sound this out, it wouldn't make any sense. Okay. It really wouldn't make any sense. It'd be elek. It's not elek. It's not elak. It's not elak. It's not elah. It's not that. Okay. You need that yod in order to pronunciate this word properly. It's a lecha. Okay. It's a layik. It's a la. A leha. See? A lenu. Take this out of here. It changes this vowel. That's what they're not explaining. Because if you had it in any other sentence, it would be an aleph, a lamed, a noon, and then the wa right here. And it'd be el nu. That's not how you say it. You would have to say elenu. Okay. So this is really having to do with the pronunciation. That's all that yod is for pronunciation. Okay. Them getting into the breaking it down, well, there will really be two because it's supposed to be an IE here and it's supposed to be this. It gets confusing because they all have like some different vowel points too. You know what I'm saying? So there's these three dots here. There's a pathak there. There's a kamatz there. There's a sagal there. There's a zeri there. It just gets confusing. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with that. Just understand that the L is a preposition. The all is a preposition. And when you see it in any letter that's added to it, you're always going to have the yod. That's all I can say for that. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit too confusing. I got confused a lot because I was like, well, what do you mean there's supposed to be two and putting the E here and the dot here, and it just gets overwhelming. It's unnecessary. All right. So last part that we want to discuss, and I'm going to start right here, is that you can add endings, those endings that we learned on page 17, you can add those endings to the eth as well. You can add them to the arrow. You can add them to the arrow. You can add them to the prepositions. You can add them to anything, right? So what does it mean? Or what's the example? It says, Yaakov ra'ah the eth Yosef. Yaakov, what? He saw eth pointing to who? He saw Yosef. The word eth is used as an arrow. We learned that in lesson number 2 to point out to us who it was that Yaakov saw. Okay, this is your vocabulary word right here, ra'ah. Okay, so now how would you say Yaakov saw him? Well, just as we saw on page number 17 with our endings, this wa right here with the dot on it means him. Okay, third person. Okay, so example, lo, to him. Him. So the answer to our question, we would say Yaakov ra'ah eth o. But that doesn't make any sense. However, instead of leaving the wa standing on its own by itself and the eth completely separated, all you got to do is add them together and you would call it otho. Therefore, the sentence would be Yaakov ra'a otho. Even though they changed it from the 3 dots and now they added it together and they made it said otho because the dot now is here on the top, you still got the eth right here and then you got the ending right here. So that's your piece. You still know that he's talking to him. Did you guys catch that? The eth is right here and there's the o right here. That's your end of the puzzle right here. So it's puzzle and that's another puzzle piece. That's the ending. So anytime you see the yod with the wa with the dot on it, that means him, but it's just a piece of the puzzle. Okay, it's always going to be him. Okay, Yaakov ra'a otho. So what did it just say? Yaakov saw him. Yaakov, direct object marker towards who? Him. He's pointing to him. Okay. Let's see how all the endings from page 17 can be added onto F. And so they're going to give us some examples of how the F is going to add it. And there it is. And of course, they don't go over, which I don't like, they don't go over how the vowel points are changed. But that's in a later book. Okay. They don't really talk about that. All they're showing you is they're just putting the endings onto the words. And then now you're showing they're putting an ending onto the direct object marker. That's all they're doing. Okay. So here's the direct object marker, the arrow, and here's all the endings right here. So if you know what those endings are, if you want to point an arrow to hint to me, that's what it is. Othika, there it is. Othak, right there. Otho, to him. Otha, to her. Othanu, pointing an arrow to us. Pointing an arrow to you, plural, masculine. Pointing the arrow to Ken, you, feminine, plural. Otham, definite article, the right here on the end, them, masculine, because it has the mem on the end. Othan, right there, feminine, for them, see? So once you get this, I want you guys to study what those endings are, because what you're going to do is you're going to place those things, those endings on prepositions, okay? And you can place it on a direct object marker. And it will give you your little phrase, to or what or eth or whatnot, okay? So you please note that the vowel, which they give us a note here, they said that vowel, that O sound which appears, remember the little O over here that you see over the, you see these little dots right here? It's by this aleph, that's what they're talking about. So that little dot right there, which gives you an O sound, appears after the aleph, like Othi or Otika, sometimes has the wa. So sometimes it will be written like this, Othi, or it could be written like this, but it still means exactly the same thing. It has no effect. It has no change in the translation of the word. I just want to show you that. Here you go. This is exactly the same thing as this, because that dot right there by itself is still O, and then also too, this is a O. Sometimes they call that a defective spelling, like sometimes it might have had a wa in there. It's not a complete spelling. It's a defective spelling. So they'll just use a dot, and you might see that. Okay, so you'll learn that. But it has no effect on the translation of the world. I mean, on the word. All right. So somebody read to me what Raven sent me. Somebody read that.
Reuven.
Yes. You had it say.
Shalak.
There you go. Reuven Shalak. Uh-huh.
Ohi.
Othi. Othi. Okay. So let's deal with Othi right quick. Good job. Othi is this. Aleph is silent, so you don't make any sound. Here's that O sound, so that's O. This is a TH sound, right? And then here's the yod, the little dot net. That's an is sound, like an I. So it's oti. Okay. It's not oti, it's oti. Oti. Okay. Reuven shalak oti. Okay. So Reuven is the one who sent me. And he's telling you right here, even though they have this right here, this wa in between the tav and the aleph. Remember, if it was this, then it would be the same thing. All they did was they put the full spelling. So that would kind of trip you up a little bit because you'd be like, man, well, how am I supposed to know what this is? Well, this is the direct object marker right here, the aleph and the tav. And what they've done is they just took this wa and put it in between it, right? Sometimes it'd be on the end, sometimes it'd be in the middle, and sometimes it would just be like this. Oti, same thing. Okay, they're just writing it out differently. Okay, and you can see that on the second line. Read the second line again.
Reuben Shalak Oti.
Oti. So this is exactly the same, even though they're written out differently. What's the difference?
The Y was added in the first.
Right. So anytime the tav doesn't have a dot in it, when the tav has a dot in it, it's a hard T sound. When it doesn't have a dot in it, it's a TH sound. Okay. Sent me. Now, what part of this sentence is me? What letters in there is me? Yes, it's the dot and the yod. Perfect. Okay. So anytime you see a dot and a yod, it's what?
Me.
It's me. Anytime you see two dots and a yod, it's what?
Me.
Semikuf is a semikuf. Remember? The two dots and a yod is a semikuf. It was a little trick question. It's from lesson number 2. Remember? You went from a yod and a mem, transfers over to two dots and a yod. These are exactly the same. Okay, you just laid your hand on this and then it turned into that. You understand? So when you know your endings like this right here, you know that's me. You know the aleph and the tav right here, right, is the direct object marker. It's an arrow. Okay. Here it is again. How do you say this? Someone read this line. It's the name of our daddy.
Yeah.
Yep. Yaakov what? There you go. Ra'ah. Ra'ah. Uh-huh. Ra'ah what? Silent. O-T-H-A-M. Otham. So Yaakov Ra'ah Otham. Okay. Question for you guys. Out of this word right here, what two letters are the direct object marker, which is the arrow?
Arrow is the saw.
It's the aleph and the tav. That's your arrow. That's your direct object marker. Okay. What is this part that I'm circling right here? What is that in the sentence? Out of this sentence right here, what represents this mark, this here and this here together? What is that?
Them.
Them. Okay. What is saw? What word is for saw? Ra'ah. And of course, Yaakov is the first one. So Yaakov Ra'ah Otham. Say it. Yaakov what?
Ra.
Yeah, Otham. So Ra'ah means to see. And don't worry about, well, I said it, but I can't remember it. The more I said it, but I can't remember. I said Shalak, but I can't remember it. Let me tell you something. If you read the Torah every single day and you see these words, you're going to remember them. That's all I can tell you. So don't try to study it. So like, oh, I'm going to study this and say 500 times and I'm going to remember it. No, what you do is you do a little bit every day. And the more you frequently you see something, the more you're going to learn it. The more you practice something, the more you're going to understand it. Okay. So Reuven shalak oti and Yaakov ra'ati otham. Okay. Yaakov, he saw. Okay. He saw them. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. This stuff over here, I don't want to get into it. You're just like, well, what is this? Something that we can't talk about right now. Because this is a wa. Okay. And that's what it is. A wa here and a wa here with this sound right here. There's two W's, a WW, and this right here is a ah. So that's wa. One's with the wa and one's without the wa. Okay. Here's your wa right here, and here's one without it. Doesn't have it. Very simple. Okay. So see how complicated they made it? Do you see how, if you read this, you would be like, well, what the heck is this? Those are was. And they're talking about this right here. This is with it. And this one doesn't have it. It's without it. It doesn't have a wa. But if you don't know the language, you'd be like, well, what is this? I don't know what those marks are. It's a wa. Okay. That's why I say they can be a little confusing sometimes. You guys okay?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, so again, I'm going to send this to you. I don't believe I need to go over this, but it's just going again and showing you what the F looks like. You know, and it also means, you know, the F, it could be with me, you know, so they got the et and then they got the endings and all the different endings you added. So I'm going to send that to you. And they tell you about, you know, the one with 1 dot and 2 dots. And so they're saying the one with 1 dot means with, and that's just something that you got to learn. But you know, it's a direct object marker. Okay. So I can send that to you. That's not a big deal. Okay. Still dealing with the et. You guys can deal with that. And we went over that. Okay. Let's have some fun. You guys are scared, huh? Are you guys, just be honest with me, are you intimidated by what you see right now? Just be honest.
Yes.
Okay, great. Because you know what? It is intimidating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Because you don't know what you don't know when you look, you're like, I think I know it, but I don't know it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to seem like I'm stupid, but guess what? The fact of the matter is that we don't know. And guess what? It's okay. Conjure, what I always say that it's okay, what?
To make mistakes.
Okay to make mistakes, you guys. That's how you get better. If I ask a question, you say something that was wrong, don't go, oh, I'm not going to ask them more questions. Say, you know what? I missed that one. That's okay. Because making mistakes and it makes you better. That's why I love the Torah. Because the Torah will show you your mistakes. It just makes you better. You get stronger. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're intimidated, that's good. That's a good thing. Okay. But the words that they're using in this, you know, number 5 here is very simple. And you know this, and I'm going to show you that you know it. So I don't want you to be intimidated. What does that mean right there? And how do you say it? Ha. Come on, open your mouth. It means the. All right, so you know that. If you don't know this by now, and that's in rule number 1, the second rule of lesson number 1, I've done a horrible job. What's this?
Ish.
And what does ish mean?
Man.
Okay, so what's the first little piece of your puzzle? What does it say?
Ish.
Yeah, ha-ish, the man. Okay, got it. All right. Now, this is our vocabulary word. It's called ra'ah. I don't expect you to remember because you haven't studied it, but ra'ah means to see. Okay. And then we just learned about oti. Okay. All right. But then let's talk about this part of the puzzle. What is that? It's a wa. And a wa is a tit peg. And a wa means what?
And
You've been in my class today. You should know it means and, it means peg, it means join. Okay. Now, joining what? The tent. Okay. This right here is a different word. It's a 3-letter word called halak. You guys remember what that means? That's okay if you don't.
Sent.
He went.
Went.
Yeah. And today you're going to learn that ethi means with me. Okay. So this N right here is me. And the eth is the direct object marker. It's the arrow. What does this mean?
Direct.
Two. Two. Okay. Is it a weak staff or a strong staff?
Strong, nothing.
It's strong. Why is it strong? You get it?
It's nothing.
Tell me why the letter. What part of it makes
Oh.
it strong?
That is
That aleph,
on the front.
right? Remember, they're telling us letters, but you and I know what the meaning of these letters mean. We should know. Okay. So this is a strong staff, right? Two. That's when you see this when it says, why do better Yahweh el Moshe, meaning he spoke to Moshe. What? With a strong authority, because the staff means authority. Okay. What does this say? The stop going, open your mouth. The the it's always going to be the. Okay. Tell me if this is a man, a ish, then what is this over here? A isha. Okay. And what makes it a female? Somebody tell me.
Tav at the end.
Is this that mark right there? And here it is. Hey, that's what makes her female. Okay. You see that? So the man he saw with me and walked, and he went with me to the woman. Okay. If I'm going to make a call, then what I'm talking about in Hebrew.
All.
All. So all of the, what is that?
B'nai.
Yeah. And these 2 dots in the yod mean?
Plural.
Yep. It means plural, but it also means the
Sons.
blank of, which is the sons. And so it's the sons of who?
Yaakov.
Yaakov.
Yaakov. So all the sons of Yaakov, halaku, they went. And this word halak means to go or went or walk, but the u on the end. What's the u?
The Wa.
Yep, it is. And what does it mean?
They.
If I'm talking about the sons, who is he talking about?
They.
Them.
Them.
Them. And where did the sons go? Where did they halak? Where did they go? They went, and the lamed right here means what?
2.
2 or 4. And somewhere where our family used to live and get punished and beaten and have sex with their brothers and sisters and their mothers and aunties.
Mitzrayim.
Yeah. And we got a tent peg, so that means somebody's being joined. And what? And our word from lesson number 1, lakak, it's either lesson 1 or 2, means took, and this u on the end means they. So what did they take? They take this direct object marker, but this right here means what? Them.
Them.
Them. They took them, what? And then we got a direct object marker and arrow pointing to this is what they took. So here's the verb. The verb is telling you what the direct marker, what they did, and they give you an arrow to what they took. What did they take? That's the name of a little brother that they were afraid to take with them.
Benjamin.
Binyamin, yes. Okay. So if you look at Binyamin, Bain is son, and this is right hand. Yamin means right hand. So he's the son of my right hand, right? So all the sons of Yaakov, they went to Mitzrayim and they took with them Eth Binyamin. You guys don't be intimidated. They're just letters and they're just words. Once you learn that these are prepositions and conjunctions and direct object markers, you're going to be fine. This is the semicolon right here. And this again, I think is a relative pronoun, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so number 7. Call means what?
All
All. And all, and here's a
on the
what? Ak is your brother, so Akim is what?
Brothers.
Brothers. And then we have our word asher, which is a relative pronoun. That, okay? Yatsa is a word. They went, okay? They go, okay? They, and then we have with the preposition mem. What's preposition mem means from? Look at me, I just told you. What does preposition the mem mean? From. And where they go from? Eretz is one of your words. What's Eretz?
Earth.
The earth or the land. The land of what?
Israel.
Yep. And they halaku. So they halak, and the u is they. And when they have a preposition, a lamed right here, meaning what?
To
To who? Here's their who they went to. Who did they go to? That's their brother that they sold out. What's his name?
Yosef.
Yosef. And then here's another preposition. And that's a bet. And a bet is a tent. And you do something with a tent. You can go in a tent, you can go with the tent, or you can, take, in or with. So you got to put it together. So they halaku to Yosef in what land?
Mitzrayim.
Mitzrayim. So as soon as you start saying this a lot, you'll be like, oh, that's a Mitzrayim. Oh, that's the Eretz. Oh, that's Yisrael. I remember seeing, I don't have to look at the dots anymore. That's gone. I already know what that is. And then you look at this. Oh, that's halak. Oh, and then the that's halaku. They. Oh, okay. To Yosef in Mitzrayim. You guys don't be intimidated. Just words and vocabulary words. What's the name of this sons of Israel? What's this son's name? Somebody just said it out of their mouth, but they didn't say they were scared. Yosef. Okay. What did Yosef do? Say it.
Row.
He ra'ah.
Ah.
And here's another ah. Here's one ah, here's the second one. Here's a R sound, and here's a nothing. So don't say that, just say this. And you go ra'ah. And ra'ah means he saw. And who did he see? We got an arrow right here. Who did he see?
Them.
Them. Word for preposition. Leaf name. That means before. Okay. And it means, and the reason why it's before, because panay or panai means face. So that's why they're using it for the word before. Okay. So they saw the faces before the face of what? The what? What's a bayith? What's a bayith?
Daughter.
Close. A bath is a daughter, but a bayith is a house.
House.
So a daughter is like a house. She shares the same root. Okay. Because once she's the daughter, she's a house. She's a bet. You put that little dot in her, she's pregnant. She's the one who carries the seed. So she is the house. Okay. She's used to build the house of sons and daughters. That's why you get a daughter. Okay. And again, this in particular one here is what? What's this? So wa, and it means and. And then they got the word ha, lock. And they went. And then here's one of our words that you're going to learn when I send you it over. Here's a preposition that has a yod in it. And we know that L, and then they put that yod, and then they added the hem on the end. They added that hem. the three dots. So we know right there that Elohim. What does El mean?
Power.
That means power, but also in our grammar, it means two.
Two.
And the reason why I know there's a preposition is because they put that yod right there. Remember, they said you have to add it. So here's the L, and you'll learn it. I'm gonna send it over to you. And the last part of that puzzle is this. Haim, and Haim is a masculine plural, and the H in these three dots right here tells me that it's a masculine plural. So to them, okay, third person, masculine plural, okay. So how you say Yosef, he saw them before the house, and he went Elohim, he went to them, okay. So just puzzles, that's all. What's this first piece of the puzzle? Ha means what? The, okay. You know, your brother is a ak, but if I want to make it more than one brother, I throw this on it and it's called what?
Akim,
Akim. So what did we just say?
the brothers.
The brothers. Okay. I know that right there is they, because I'm talking about the brothers. So I'm talking about plural. So I know that this wall right here with this dot means they. Okay. But if you remember, do you know what debar means? Or yeah, debar or deber. Do you know what that means? It means speak. Okay. Or spoke. So the brothers, they what?
Spoke.
They spoke. And what you learned today is een, and een means with. And who did the brothers speak with?
Yosef.
Yep. And what did this person do? And who? And Yosef, what did he do? Debar, he did the same thing. So here's the debar here. They spoke with Yosef, and Yosef spoke. And here's another een right here. And here's the haim on the end, meaning that's what you're going to learn when I send this lesson over to you, them. So im and imahem, he spoke with them. It's just a puzzle. Okay. Question. This is called Asheth. The reason why this tav is on here from lesson number 2 is because it's been changed. So what was really there? Before you
Isha.
laid your hand on it, it's called a isha. So a sheth is the same as a isha, correct? Yep, isha. Even though it says asheth, it still is isha. The reason why it's asheth is because they changed the hey, which it was right here, right? Isha. They changed it to this tav because they're going to be talking about another noun. So this is the wife of who? Who's this the wife of? Not just the wife or woman, the wife of, because it's in a semikuth. And a semikuth means the, and then whatever this is, she just got changed, which is the wife of. So the semikuth is the blank of. So when you put that woman in there, she is the wife of who? Ha, what's ha?
Me.
The, and what's Malek?
King.
King. So far we got the wife of the king. You would look at this and be like, I've never seen that word before. Nathana. Okay, Nathana. Nathan means to what?
Hey,
I told you, yes, it means to give. Okay, I told you I shot dice and I told people you get Nathan, then you don't get nothing. Now that I know the Hebrew means Nathan means to give. So now I know that she's giving it because it has this ah on the end. Okay, so Natha, you see the ah on the end? That's talking about this woman's feminized. She's going to give, and here's a preposition. What's the preposition in the next word? What 2 letters of this word is the preposition?
All up top.
All. Yep, right here. Okay. We know it's a preposition because they have a yod right here. And this letter right here means something else. Okay. Okay. So this right here means to him. What? What did she give to the king?
Sus.
Horse.
She gave a horse. And what else did she give him?
Susa.
A susa. So what kind of horse is this? Is this a sus and this is a susa?
Male horse. and a
Female.
female.
There's a male and there's a female. Thank you. So you guys are starting to see that there's males and there's females. Masculine and feminine. First person, second person, third person. You get the semicuth right here, the blank of, and then you have the ha, the, and then the noun, malek, and then nathana, the ah lets you know that she's the one who's giving. That's the verb. And here's the preposition to the noun. And here's another noun. The reason why those nouns weren't changed, two nouns next to each other, is because they don't need to, because they didn't have the ah on this one, the first part. Okay. 11. What's the first letter? 11. Say the
The.
first part. What is this?
A.
It's
The.
called ha, which is the. And av is what? What is your av?
Father.
Father.
Okay, so what do you got? The ha av means what?
The father.
The father. And what did he do in our, so it's not a word, one of our favorites, but laquak is he took, and it's a direct object marker, an arrow, and it's going to tell you what he took, because this is the verb. What did he take? I'm going to show you. He's pointing the arrow to what he took. What did he take?
He took
The what? And here's one of your words today that you don't know because you didn't study, and that's okay. He took the sefer. If you know anything about a sefer, what's a sefer? It's a scroll or a book, okay? And he took it, and here's a preposition. What does that preposition right here mean? This mem right here? From, good. He took it from, and then from what? From the, and here's an aim. Who's the aim?
mother.
Mother.
Mother. Good job. So now you can see that the father, it's just a puzzle. The father, he took, telling me what he took, the arrow, the direct object marker pointing to the book, not a book, the book from the mother. These are, that's how it is. It's a puzzle. Okay. How many? This is call. What does call mean?
All.
All is easy to remember. Call and all sounds just as like, right? All what?
All the.
All the what? Ak is brother. Akim is what?
Brothers.
Brothers.
All the brothers, they, okay. If you know your word right here, yatsa, they all went. And they tell you where did they go? Because that's the verb, that's the action. And here's the arrow. They went where? To the Eretz. The Eretz of what? The land of
Israel.
Israel. Okay, so all the brothers, they went to the land of Israel. You say, well, I don't see the in there. I don't see a hey in there, because why wouldn't it be haaretz? Why wouldn't it be a hey right there? Well, because it's in a semikuth, because we know that a eretz is a noun and we know this is a noun. There are two nouns next to each other. And based on the rule is if it doesn't end in a ha, this first word doesn't, not the second one, the first one. If the first word doesn't end in a ha, feminine, and it doesn't end in an im, which is the yod and the mem, forgive my yod, it was ugly. If it doesn't end in these two things right here, there's no change to this letter, or excuse me, this word. Okay, but it's still the land of Israel, not a land, it is the land. So we don't have to have a hey in there to say the land. If you understand the sentence structure, you understand the semikuth and the rules of two nouns, when you see those nouns and you recognize them as nouns, you would know, oh, that's not a verb, that's a noun. Oh, that's not a preposition, oh, that's a noun. And there are two nouns, eretz is a noun and Israel's a noun. But eretz doesn't have an a or im on the end. Oh, no change. But does it mean that the blank of is not there? No, it's in there. You just can't see it. Okay, so all the brothers, the Ha'akim, the brothers, the Yatza. Yatza means to go. Okay, they went, because that's how you mean to go, to Eth, the land of Israel. Yatza. Yatza means to go out. Out what? What is Ha? The. What's the Malek?
King.
So is 3 letters right here. Is this masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
It's masculine. Okay. It's masculine because you're talking about the king. It's masculine. So really this would be not just went out, it would be he went, the king, and this is our preposition men. Because it has a mem on the front of it, what does it tell you? What does mem mean on the front? It's a word. This is actual word, but we know the mem represents a preposition too. So this is easy to remember. What does a mem represent for like a preposition? Just a letter by itself. What does it mean? From. Okay. And then you got from what? The. This is ha. Ha what? What's by it? Sounds like bait. Sounds like bet. It's called a bayit. Bayit means a house. Okay. So he went out, the king, from the house. See? So I know it's intimidating. I know that it's kind of challenging because you're like, I've never seen this before. But it's the way it is. Okay. Now, they're going to ask us some questions and we'll close with this. It says, please translate the following sentences into English. Each one has a few mistakes in it. What are they? Come on. All right. So it's not hard. You can find a mistake. Okay. So what's the first word?
All.
All. Uh-huh. Next one. The. Uh-huh. Akim. All the brothers. Okay. Halak.
Went.
Yep. Went. Okay. And the aim. What's the aim?
Mother.
All the mother. Halak. Went. Akadrehen. A car again means after. Okay. And hain means them. Plural, feminine. Okay. So where are the mistakes at? I'm gonna
The
tell you.
halak,
Huh?
the halak, right?
Halak is a mistake. Tell me why.
Because it needs to be plural.
Yes, because the brothers are plural. Good eye. Ha'akim. So halak means he. It should have been halaku, them or they. Okay. The mother, halak, that's a problem. Why is this a problem?
Feminine.
Yes, perfect, because it's not feminine right here. There's halak here and halak here is the same. It means he. If it was feminine, because you're talking about a woman, it would have been halaka. And this would have been a small cough like this. Okay. Akadrehen. Okay. What's the problem? That halak akadrehem after them. The halak in a way. This really is a problem too. Because you have the brothers and the mother, okay? And then it says after them, but the them on here is feminine and it should be masculine because there's men involved, okay? That's something that we have to go over. But that is great that you found that. So what you look for is see if the verbs matches what, you know, the noun, right? Because they have to match, okay? So if this is plural, this should be plural. If this is singular, it should be singular, which it is, but it's not feminine. because the aim is a mother. And this does not represent a mother, because if it had a mother, it'd be halakah. Halak is for a man. Halakah, that the softness of it, is for a woman. Akadrehen, it means after them. Okay. You guys got that? Okay. What's the next one? Hamalek, the king, Kadra'ah. Okay. What's the problem?
Not
The I at the end.
Yeah, the because the represents what?
Feminine.
feminine.
Femininity, but we're not talking about a femininity. We're talking about the king. The verb here is the problem because it's not representing the king. The king is masculine. So the verb should be masculine. Okay. Two, the ha-ish. What's a ha-ish?
The boy.
Ish,
The man.
Man.
the man. And he sent Otha. What's the problem with this? What's the problem with Otha?
It should be masculine.
It should be masculine. Yes, because the man and sent, because this and sent right here, shalak, is 3 letters. So we know it's the third person masculine singular. If it was shalaka, then we know a female was sending, but it's not. It's a male. And the otha right here is a direct object marker talking about she sent. And it's not a she. Okay. It was the man. Okay, which is the king. The king sent to the man, and the king, and he sent the otha. I said otha. This right here, since this masculine, this is the high-ish. So he spoke and he told him, and he sent this man, but they said otha. It should have been oath, to the Malika, which is the queen. You see Malek in here? That's the Malek, M, L, and then the cough right here, but they got, it's not a final cough, okay? It's K, really, okay? Then you just put the in K like the Malek, and then the A on the end tells you that it is the femininity. Good job. So, Malika, okay? Good job, you guys. You guys are doing excellent. You're starting to look, you're paying attention, right? We're just learning everything, okay? What's that?
The
The what? What's the
Daughter.
daughter? Yeah, the daughter. Perfect. The daughter what? Halak. Is that a problem? That's a verb. So this,
halakha.
yeah, it should be halakha, right? So it should be a hey, and then a lamed, and then it should be a ka, and then here, halakha. That's what it should have been. So halak is for the masculine, third person masculine singular. Anytime you got 3 letters, it's third person masculine singular. But we're not talking about a masculine singular. We're talking about a feminine singular. It should have been the malaka. That's what it should have been. They should have had this on here, and this would have been turned to this, and that would have been that. Halakha. So the daughter, she spoke, and what's this, a preposition? It means what?
Two.
To. Good. And the, who did she go to?
Son.
Good. Perfect. What's that?
And
And
the
the,
son.
Nathanu,
Gave.
okay, gave, right? But we got a problem. What is the problem? This is plural. And this is singular. See? This is talking about us. And this is talking about a single son. That's the problem. Because new on the end of a word is an ending, okay? And it means to give, right? So this saying we or us. And so the son gave us. It shouldn't be that. It should have been if he gave. It should have been just Nathan, right? The preposition that's next to this, so that's a problem. This is a problem right here. Because and the son Nathanu. No, it's not that. Okay. The preposition here is the to, but here we got this ending. And this affair is a scroll or a book. All right. So more than likely, the errors that we found have to do with the verbs. So anytime that you're looking at a word, or a sentence, you always want to look at the verbs. Because when you look at the verbs, that's where your problem's going to be. If the verb doesn't match the noun, then there's a problem. Okay. So that's what you're looking for. So when you're reading the text, you're always going to see that it is perfect, really, to be honest with you. The Hebrew scroll is literally perfect. Okay. There are some little errors, some not mistranslations, but there are what they call defective spellings, but that's about it. Okay. So you guys did a really good job. When I send this over to you, I want you to kind of decipher, questions 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and look at those things and know what they mean and write them on a piece of paper. Okay. And if you feel, more, excited about it, you could take 5 through wherever we went through again, and you go through that. All the words that are being used here have been words that are in your vocabulary, right? So ox, son, Yaakov, halakul, yatsa, lakak, Benjamin and Yosef and those names are not there, but you can figure it out. Just spell it out. Okay. Just spell it out. So what you do is you go, oh, that's a yod, so that's a Y. Oh, that's a O. Okay. That's a S. Okay. Oh, and that's a PH. Okay. So what is that? That's Joseph. Okay. Here's Benjamin. Okay. So that's a B. Okay. What's the next letter? Just an N. Okay. The next one's a Y. Okay. And there's a min. Okay. And here's a I. Okay. Oh, Ben Yamin. Oh, okay. Benjamin. You see? Yaakov. Spell it out. Take it and write it out. What's the first letter? A yod, that's a Y. Okay, that's a and then kov, that's a Q. Oh, and that's a V. Okay, let's put a V there. Yaakov. Okay, Yaakov. You see? And start looking at the endings, and oh, that's that's feminine. Oh, that's the and the king and Asheth. Okay, I get it. And you start putting the pieces together. And before you know it, you're going to start getting happy and excited. Okay. So it's not just about reading, it's about being able to break the pieces of the puzzle down. And that's what I've been attempting to teach you, is to decipher and break it down. So when you look at it, you'll know what it is. You guys did a great job. You really did. And you're going to get better and better and better at it. Any questions? You're on lesson number 3. We got like 20 lessons. Could you imagine what you're going to be like in 20 lessons? Why is everybody silent? Did everybody leave?
That was a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. But say this. Say it is a tough one. All right. Put the tough one in your bag. Right. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first started learning this, I was getting discouraged. I was like, man, this stuff is this is, I don't know. This don't apply to life. I don't see it. And y'all showed me something. He said, do you really want it? I said, yeah. Do you really want to teach my people? I said, yeah. He said, do you really want to know what I'm saying? I said, yeah. Let Yah be the encouragement. Because all the words that you're reading is why do better Yahweh the El Moshe. You're only going to hear what he said. So when somebody else comes talking anything else, you won't listen. You won't listen to nobody else. I don't listen to nobody. I only listen to what he said. Because at the end of the day, it's only what he says. So everything that's written, he said, just about. It would not have been there if he didn't write it. He told them to write the story, tell them what happened. Tell them what I said. So when you read the covenant and you find out that it's Lakah versus Lakem, you'd be like, uh-oh, wait a minute. This ain't a group project. This has to do with me. You're telling me that I can't have another Elohim. See, that would have been a great point to bring out today in our lesson. but I, for whatever reason, I didn't,